Biosecurity is a management practice designed to prevent entry of diseases into a farm and limit spread. It is an essential element to good animal husbandry process. It is the cheapest and most effective method of disease control, as it ensures that the health and well-being of your birds are protected, hence improving the immunity and performance of your flock. For the Kienyeji chicken, some might despite this practice, but it is equally important to keep the birds free from diseases. This lessens the level of being injected with antibiotics, which in turn remains as residues in the chicken, making the meat unhealthy.
So biosecurity, number one, is an important preventative method to ensure that diseases don't attack your birds. So you minimize your losses, because if the birds don't get sick, then you're not going to lose birds through death, and you're not going to spend money treating birds. So that's the first step. But the second step is that this problem of antibiotic residues in meat is a big problem actually that we really need to look at, because people are using antibiotics a lot to treat diseases, and these residues remain in meat. And when we consume the meat, then we start having microdoses of antibiotics and makes us resistant to bacterial. So we become easily affected by bacteria, because they become resistant because they're taking some minimal doses of antibiotics which we get as residues in the meat. So the quality of the meat, the quality of the product in terms of the absence of antimicrobial residues is really an important factor for our farm here, because we don't want to put out a product that has antibiotic residues.
The meat from Kienyeji chicken is leaner and tastier than hybrid chicken. The main challenge in selling these birds is at the supply level, as farmers keep the birds in small quantities.
So the challenge with Kienyeji farming per se is that the market demand is higher than the supply. And so what happens is that because people keep these birds in smaller quantities, everybody is running around collecting birds from different homes. When you do that and you've not observed proper biosecurity, then issues of disease come in, right? So that is one big challenge, diseases, and that means you cannot assure a quality product to your end consumer. The other thing is inconsistency in supply. The market wants a product, you start supplying, but then you run out of chickens. You can't get that large number in one place. So that's another challenge. So a lot of people are going to Kambani, West Pokot, where looking for chickens, but they can't get the volume. So for Kienyeji chicken, one of the things is that we need to get to a place where we have the volume that we can guarantee consistent supply to the market.
Another challenge that Dennis highlights is the sale of Kienyeji chicken meat without looking at the weight of the bird. This, he says, leads to farmers experiencing losses for lack of knowledge.
Again, the other thing is farmers sell without looking at weight. Basically, people sell by sight. And if you do that, then somebody can take advantage of you, because birds of differing weights, there's no standard really, there's no standard price. So people just sell, price that they think is fit for the product. But I think going forward, we need a situation where we sell at a standardized price, and then we are able to consistently meet market demands, and then also guarantee the quality that the market requires. I think the Kienyeji chickens are the preferred chickens, and we just need to standardize the system.
According to Dennis, the market outlook for these birds is promising, but the supply is not equal to the demand.
The market is erratic. It's not very well predictable because things are not formalized. But I see a situation where if everything is standardized, the market outlook is big. If you think about the domestic market, there is a deficit in poultry supply. So there is a big scope to actually supply that domestic market. We are not even thinking about the international market, Middle East and China. So the scope is huge. Usomi as a company and Elerai as a farm here, we are looking to supply those markets out there. But the amount they're talking about are crazy. They're mind-boggling. I mean, when you think about the quantities they want per week, from Kienyeji birds, there's no way we can get them. So we need to work with a lot of farmers to get to a point where we are able to supply 2 or 3 containers a week. Then the export market is there. It's really there. It's just a matter of where is the product. So the issue is, if farmers come together and maintain these high standards, sanitary conditions for the rearing of birds, then the export market is there. So different markets have got different requirements. Typically, your supermarkets want dressed bird about 1.2 to 1.4 kilos, which means you're talking about a live weight of about 2 kilos of chicken. The other wet markets, wet markets here, people want bigger birds because then these are going for home consumption, and for home consumption, people don't mind buying slightly bigger birds from the market. So we are looking at 2.5, 3 kilos. So typically our birds here, when they are going out, they're about 2.5, 3 kilos in weight.
As many have praised how lucrative poultry farming is, Dennis has an opinion towards this tune.
I think poultry farming can be lucrative. And for many people, it is lucrative. But really, it depends on how you budget your costs. Because sometimes when people calculate the profit, they ignore many other things. Like if you are raising the birds yourself, you don't include your own salary in your profit and loss statements or gross margins analysis. So you don't look at how much, if I paid myself for the work I've done, am I really making a profit or not? And so the truth of the matter is generally for Kienyeji chicken farming, it is profitable. The profit varies with the level of input that you have. If you're formulating your own feeds, you actually reduce the margins slightly lower, but also you miss out on the growth dividend, because most of the own formulated feeds will not give you all the mixtures in the proper proportion. So let me just say, yes, generally poultry farming is lucrative. Kienyeji specifically, Kienyeji farming for chickens is lucrative as long as your biosecurity is good, so you're not losing too many birds, and you manage your feeding costs. Those are the 2 biggest cost drivers.
At Usomi, Dennis speaks of plans to extend the market to neighboring countries, just like the other agricultural products.
Our targets for chicken are very high in terms of we are looking to globalize. We want poultry to leave Kenya to go to other parts of the world. And we are looking at this in 2 ways. Number one, using poultry as a pathway out of poverty for our farmers in the villages. So we are focusing on the villages, and especially in marginalized areas where incomes are quite low. So we are looking to recruit as many farmers as possible in places where Kienyeji chickens are dominant, but people have a problem with the market. So that's our primary focus, where we want to focus, and we want as many as 5,000 farmers in the next 6 months to be recruited. In the 3 years, we are targeting 120,000 farmers, who we will be working with. The whole idea is that we will link the farmers to banks. Okay? We will link the farmers to the banks so that they can get credit to be able to raise the birds, and then we assure them the market. And this way then, the cash flow becomes very predictable for the farmers, because then our market requirements are very well timed. So we know exactly how much poultry we need at what interval. So that makes it easier for the farmers to actually be sure that they are going to make money. If you are being recruited as a brooder farmers are few. We are doing a maximum of 12 brooder farmers per county. So we will not do more than 12 brooder farmers per county. Each brooder farmer does between 1,000 chicks to about 5,000 chicks. There's one who is doing 7,000 chicks. So between 1,000 to say 10,000 chicks. That's why we want a few of them, because few brooder farmers can serve large numbers of outgrower farmers. Each outgrower farmer will do from 50 birds to a maximum of 300, right? Just to manage, because then the capital flows might be a problem. So the outgrower farmers, 50 birds. We are going to start with about 1,200 to 2,000 farmers, outgrower farmers, in the next 6 months. And then, because that is the level of the market we have, and then we will increase from there on slowly until we get to the 120,000 farmers in 3 years. For a brooder unit, you're talking about 800,000 to $1 million shillings to be a brooder farmer. And for a brooder farmer, you typically make a profit of about 90 shillings per bird. And because you're keeping and then your capital costs for the brooder unit, you can discount them over some time. So generally, in 2 years, you should have paid off the brooder unit and you're just enjoying pure profit. For these other outgrower farmers, typically you buy your chick at 500 shillings. So if you are dealing with a 100 chicken unit, you're talking about 50,000 shillings to start, and that per cycle should be able to bring you a profit of about 35,000, between 30 to 35,000 per every 2 months.
As we wind up, Dennis shares tips on how to succeed in Kienyeji chicken farming.
Kienyeji chicken farming pays if you do the things the right way. What does it mean to do things the right way? Number one, don't cut corners on feeds. Your biggest cost driver is feed. If you buy substandard feeds, the chicken is not going to grow or lay eggs at the level you require it to grow. And so don't cut corners with feeds. Buy good quality feeds. Number two, if you are buying chicks, buy them from a reputable source. We have a lot of adulterated chickens. When I say adulterated, I mean you're dealing with hybrids. A lot of these improved Kienyeji things, birds, are hybrids. And therefore, hybrids have a very specific characteristic. You need to only work with what we call F1, which means you have birds that come from a parent stock. The moment you take those ones and you go hatch your own eggs, you will see stunting begin to happen in your farm. So you have a flock of birds, you bought maybe 100, 200, you are feeding them, 100 is growing, the other 100 is stunted. Why? Because you're dealing with lower generations of that stock. This is a hybrid bird that has very specific characteristics. Please use only F1. And for you to get authentic F1, then you have to go to somebody with a parent stock. This is something that actually is pervading the Kienyeji landscape, and a lot of farmers are suffering because they are feeding chickens which are not growing, but because of the source of their chicks. They are buying chicks from other people. Everybody is putting an incubator inside their house. They don't understand the genetics of the birds. So now you end up losing money because you thought you were saving money by buying cheaper chicks. So we need to take care of that. And lastly, don't put chickens before you know where they're going to in terms of the market.
We hope you've gained insight on how to find good market for your Kienyeji chicken. If you do not have a direct market, Dennis is assisting by becoming a link to farmers for the bigger market. Do not get lost in this venture. Explore opportunities and make the best out of every situation. Thank you for staying tuned to KTN Farmers TV. Continue watching this channel for more agricultural insights.